Hello, my name is Steve Bager and I'm the Technical Director for Animex International. At Animex, we do a variety of things to help reduce wildlife vehicle collisions and ensure that habitats remain connected across the world. But today I'm here to talk to you specifically about Animal Detection and Driver Warning Systems, or ADDWS as they're commonly known. And my goal is to convince the Lions that installing one of these systems in Africa is a great idea. As it stands, I've already been involved in discussions for 3 different projects on the African continent, including one in South Africa, one in Kenya, and one in Botswana. But none of these projects are yet to get off the ground. Now, unfortunately, I can't share any information about these projects in particular, but what I can do is provide a case for using these systems and tell you a bit about how they work and why you should consider using them. I'm sure you've heard countless numbers and facts and figures being thrown at you about wildlife vehicle collisions during this conference, but just to add some more and provide some context in this sense, in 2019 there were almost 15,000 human fatalities from road accidents in South Africa alone. That's just over 40 people per day, and many of these incidents involved a collision with an animal, although the number of animals killed on roads each day in Africa is not easy to quantify. Reports from the Humane Society on Roads in the USA also estimate that approximately 1 million animals are killed each day, about the size of a jackal or above, with this figure likely to be significantly higher if smaller species are included. Now, I'm hopeful that with the Lion's support, and anyone else here listening, that we can help to make the case to install Africa's first animal detection and driver warning system in the not too distant future a reality. Now, why would you ever want to install an animal detection and driver warning system? Now, the main reason why you would ever want to install one of these in the first place is if you have the ambition to reduce wildlife vehicle collisions and improve habitat connectivity. But why would you want to install one of these instead of one of your more traditional fences and overpasses or underpasses? Now, the main 2 reasons for that are that these systems are considerably lower cost for both installation and maintenance compared to traditional crossing structures. They're also, unlike crossing structures that require vast amounts of fencing to funnel animals to structures, these detection systems can allow animals to move more freely across open areas, and this seems like a perfect solution for Africa to help reduce wildlife vehicle collisions and improve habitat connectivity. Now, how do they work? Put simply, these systems track animal movements on or near roads and then warn drivers and encourage them to adjust their behaviour to hopefully avoid a potentially deadly wildlife vehicle collision. Now, how do they do this, you're wondering? Well, they do this using a combination of sensors and signs, and these often include lights and other warning devices. Now, there are a variety of different types of sensors that we can use, and I will go on to explain these in more detail on the following slides. But the best way to think about sensors is that they are our eyes in the sky, and we strategically place these sensors within the landscape or on the roadside to be on constant lookout for wildlife. When the sensors detect an animal, they then send a signal to a warning system to alert drivers. Most commonly, the warning systems are a combination of lights and signs. They can also include speakers, alarms, messaging services, control gates to close roads, or even control autonomous vehicles and force them to stop. As I mentioned, there are various different types of sensors or eyes that we can use to detect wildlife approaching the roads, as well as different types of warning systems we can use to alert drivers and animals and get them to try to adjust their behaviour. Here are just a few different images from existing projects and systems across the world. Now, the most important thing to be aware of with these systems is that there is not a one-size-fits-all system or solution that we can apply. This does make it difficult to give guide costs for projects, but it does also mean that we have lots and lots of things to play with and combine to make sure the best system we can is used in every situation. Now, another great thing about technology is, of course, that it's forever evolving and getting better and better by the day. So no doubt by the time I've finished this presentation, someone has probably come up with something else that we can use to improve how these systems work. I'm not going to go into extreme detail on how the different types of sensors work, but I just want to give you an overview of the 4 main types currently and most commonly available to us. As I said, the technology is forever evolving and getting better by the day, and this is by no means a complete list of everything that we could use. Now, one of the simplest forms of technology is infrared brake beams. This requires animals to be funneled to an area similarly to how we do with fences and crossing structures. Now, when they cross the threshold and break the beam, we then know that an animal is there. Secondly, radar technology, which uses radio waves that are sent out. When they hit an object, they return, and we can then determine if it is or isn't an animal using pre-programmed parameters. We also have LiDAR available to us. Now, this uses light and laser technology to map an area, and it can see things in much higher resolution than radar, but can only cover a small area in comparison. Both LiDAR and radar operate using line of sight and also find it difficult to see through objects or vegetation. And finally, there is thermal, which uses the warmth of animals to detect them, and this can help wildlife to be spotted in vegetation when LiDAR or radar may not be able to. Moving on to the warning system aspect. Currently, the most common method to warn drivers is with warning signs. Now, this is not the only option available to us to try to change driver behaviour, but it is the most commonly used. And much like the sensors, there is a variety of signs available, and different highways rules can limit the different signs you can use. Now, this is a conversation for another day and something that transport agencies need to address, as it can be a limiting factor, but I will explain some popular options here. First off, we have static signs with flashing lights. Now, these have been used frequently in North America, but research has shown that static signage is not the most effective at adjusting driver behaviour. Secondly, static LED signs. These are more effective than static signs as they can portray an image and actually only illuminate when needed, which increases driver responsiveness. Thirdly, we have fully customizable LED signs. These are the most effective, but also the most expensive signage options. They are fully customizable, which enables the controller to display a variety of different messages and images, therefore making them more visible for drivers to respond to. And we also have a variety of other things we can use as warnings to address driver behaviour. Now, these include things like automated gates to prompt road closures, mobile notifications, and also autonomous vehicle control. And again, as technology advances, so do these systems. And once you have a system installed and in place, they can be easily upgraded both physically, but also digitally with the software aspects. So just to recap and close my pitch to the Lions, and to bring back some facts from earlier on in the presentation, in 2019, there were almost 15,000 human fatalities from road accidents in South Africa alone, which works out at just over 40 people per day, and many of these incidents involved a collision with an animal. Reports from the Humane Society on Roads in the USA also estimate that approximately 1 million animals are killed each day, about the size of a jackal or above, with this figure likely to be significantly higher if smaller species are included. I'm therefore pitching the piloting of a solution in the form of an animal detection and driver warning system. Why do I think the line should support this idea? I'm asking for the line support because these systems help to reduce wildlife vehicle collisions. They allow free movement of animals and wildlife in open areas. They are also lower cost than traditional overpasses and underpasses. Now, thank you all for your time to listen to my pitch today. Before I hand over and take any questions, I would just like to ask something myself with the hope that you will consider it while making your decision. And that question is, would the value of investing in this system outweigh the ongoing cost of human and wildlife fatalities? Thank you.